At the end of this video, Mbappé appears. Oh, you rascals, I know you like it. Welcome, Madridistas. How are you? Happy Holy Thursday. We have some very interesting things in this video. And no, don't worry, no. I mean, I haven't switched over to tabloid journalism or anything sensationalist, but well, it caught my attention. I noticed this is one of the day's featured images. Hey, I've been drinking this matcha latte for at least 15 years since I arrived in the United States, and it turns out it's one of Kiki's favorite drinks. There's Esther Exposito, the one Gabriel Rufian danced with back in the day. Do you remember? Dani Martin from El Canto del Loco wrote her a song. Well, now she's sharing matcha lattes with Kylian Mbappé. That's the thing. They're not hiding anymore. They're not hiding anymore, as the press would say about this kind of thing. Well, this is just an anecdote. Don't pin that whole look what you're talking about now thing on me, okay? Hey, he's our top scorer. We care about him. Well, he's happy, and that's very important, mind you. That's very important. Anyway, let's make the video a little rougher because we're moving on from something really nice. Hey, our Kiki is happy. He's happy. He seems happy. Let's see how long that lasts. But we're moving from this to Laporta. I'm sorry, but that's what's happening right now. That's the current news. So Laporta, and then they say, yes, Laporta. Every so often, I mean, Atleti releases statements, posts tweets to complain about how extremely unfair the refereeing system is. In favor of Real Madrid, which is the only club that wants to change it, by the way, the rest don't. But Madrid, which is the one that wants to change it, they say it benefits them. And so Atleti releases statements, and well, Barça also releases statements, but lately it's been said that it's Atletico, Atleti, the one writing things. And in the case of Barça, it's only Laporta, who every now and then makes some statements there. What? Very occasionally, but he's there every day being president, and even when he's not. Look, that's not the headline here. It would be awesome if they were forced to speak Catalan, by the way, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. Let's talk about what he said about Negreira and, well, lying as always, right? Lying as always. What's incredible is that there aren't any journalists there to ask him, but what do you mean, Madrid? How does he delay the Negreira case when it's you, the people related to Barça, who are asking for postponements so those under investigation can go testify, right? Or the witnesses, right? Let's take a look at this. Let's also watch that Valverde interview, which is funny. Something outrageous from Gonzalo Miro last night on El Partidazo de Cope about the match between Atleti and Barça, which is this weekend. Like, that's really what it means to rig the competition. That's what rigging the competition means, and we'll see it soon. But anyway, as I said, there's Le Cachalot who says this about the Barcelona Negreira case. I'm going to read it to you because, well, it's in Catalan, and since I speak it in private, well, anyway, it comes with subtitles. I'm not going to show off too much here, but I do understand it. I don't need the subtitles in Catalan. I can handle the language of, well, whose language? Jordi Pujol's, right? Jordi Pujol's language. As we say, English is the language of Shakespeare. Spanish is the language of Cervantes. Jordi Pujol's language, the lingua, not just the tongue. I hope the Catalans don't get mad at me. It's just that I couldn't think of anything else. Maybe some Catalan who's a Madrid fan, one of those guys. I like Catalan. I like listening to it. I like understanding it. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Someone might say they won't watch me anymore because I'm making fun, but that's not true. Tell me, hey, in Catalan, we say the language of so-and-so. That's it. Literato de hace mucho tiempo. That phrase has been around for a long time. I just don't know it. Sorry, I don't know it. So Laporta's language too, right? That's what it says. It's true that we've been condemned. Wait, hold on a second. Because, of course, they're talking here about trial by media, right? It's true we've been condemned before judgment. She's condemned even before being judged in the Negreira case. And in short, everything she does is always met with opposition. We're used to this. We're Catalans, and we're used to it. It's the same old victim narrative, man. Yeah, I like this. We're Barça, and we're used to it. Damn. And on top of that, we're succeeding. When they say a mes, it means on top of that. And that also makes you get used to people reacting occasionally.
The opposition in particular.
But above all, those here who want to have Barça under control. He says Madrid, the other says Madrid. Instead of clarifying, that's what we said before, right? Instead of behaving like journalists, they're always the typical propagandists, right? Yeah, that's it. They just keep agreeing with him and then they go along with it. This is Madrid, right? Yeah, basically, he says, basically, that's it. We're in Madrid. We're used to it. So
if they even want to in the Negreira case,
he says, they want to question the most glorious part of Barca's history with the Negreira case.
the Barça.
Which, look, I repeat, there was a period while Barca was paying Negreira for 20 years, or even longer, as Laporta said, they'd already been paying him under Núñez. Also, there was only one period when they had, Guardiola and some incredible years and all that. Sure, they played well, but there was also a period with the Reisigers, the Bogarditos, and others like them. The thing is, they keep repeating this over and over to make it seem like it's not true, but that's how it is. Barca had a lot of mediocre players, and they were paying Negreira. What's interesting is that when they had that great team, Laporta quadrupled Negreira's salary, right? But, well, nobody talks about that. He says, which doesn't hold up, right? Well, we're already used to that.
Well, we're already used to worse.
That. We try to look ahead. Well, obviously. Home life.
Thank you.
Keep pursuing our goals and try not to lose. And the other said, yes, yes, yes. When a responsible and brave exercise of journalism is needed, that's when you should have said, no, 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 don't beat around the bush. Why do you say that the reports are there when those are the reports of the Sun from 2014 to 2018 and from 2014 retrospectively to 2001? Who made those reports? The father did. They were verbal? That's not it. Show them to me. No. Of course, that would be subjecting this man to a journalistic third degree, which is what needs to be done. But isn't he interviewed by propagandists?
No, he won't lose much. He'll lose a lot.
He says we don't spend much time on these stories. We won't waste much time with these stories, right? I'm not sure if that's how you say it in Catalan. I just need to talk, man. I get it, dude. I need to talk more and just go for it. Hey, but I could do it with some pretty simple sentences. Well, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then he says again, this is just one part. Wait, because it says here, it says your relationship with Florentino at Real Madrid. My relationship with the president of Madrid is based on mutual respect. Earlier, we were both involved in the Super League, where our interests aligned, and back then there was more contact. Contact began fading as soon as he appeared in the Negreira case. He gives me explanations I don't understand. They gave me explanations I didn't understand, but I felt my duty was to focus on the Super League to achieve certain goals for Barca. But I see that I've made things worse, and that every time the judge tries to close the case, they present conclusive evidence, which is a statement from a radio or a media outlet, and evidence that later turns out to be baseless. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Real Madrid gave some things that the judge found insufficient, but others were considered serious and acceptable. So our point remains the same. Here, the conclusive evidence is the payments that Barcelona couldn't make to a head of the referees for 20 years. If it hadn't expired under the law through the administrative process, Barca would have been relegated to the second division, to the first RFF or to the second RFF. That's how it is. That's a 100% verifiable truth. Tebas said it. That's verifiable. If it hadn't expired, if they hadn't let this case become time barred under that law, Barca would have been sanctioned, relegated, UEFA wouldn't have invited them to the Champions League, etc., etc., etc. That hardly ever gets mentioned. Because when they say this, the journalist on duty should say, hold on a second and mention this. Let's see what Laporta says. Let's see what Laporta says. But nobody says it to Laporta, man. Not even Juanma Castaño the other day. No, 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 no. Okay, the criminal case, fine, but the administrative route is still there. I know it's expired, but if Levante or Osasuna or Granada did this tomorrow and they do it with just one payment to the second in command of the referees, do they get relegated or not? Well, yes, they get relegated. That's it, damn it. That's it. It's very clear. But there's not a single journalist with any guts. Well, you don't even need to have them. It's about being aware and knowing the case and saying, sir, this. But that's why I always tell you the administrative route is exhausted because it expired. There's an ethical route that's being explored. Well, and what about the complaint from Madrid to FIFA and the quote unquote good relationship with UEFA? So that UEFA, in a case that it never closed, opened it in 2023 and didn't close it, left it suspended. They can continue with it. Be careful. I think we're going to have news soon. Beyond the criminal proceedings that are still in the investigation phase. The case hasn't gone to trial yet. As Laporta says, no, it just seems like the judge might dismiss it, but the judge hasn't said he will dismiss anything. There are enough reasons, more than enough, to send the case to trial. what Barça or people related to Barça, former presidents and so on, have done is to drag things out. It's to extend those deadlines precisely because they ask to appear later. And the judge has to say, I have to extend this, because if these people ask me to appear later, then they're already lying there. The journalist doesn't go so far as to say, hey, this boom, let's see what Laporta has to say about that. Laporta, when he gives these interviews, it's pure propaganda. It's incredible. But also they're carried out by his own propagandists. If there were serious journalists in front of him, they'd say to all this, wait a minute, explain this to me. Damn, to put him between a rock and a hard place. But well, anyway. Well, it's the same as always, like you say. They always interview him in Catalonia, fine. But Juanma Castano the other day could have put him between a rock and a hard place with this. I mean, when he goes to a national media outlet, come on, man. He says he's already in trouble, and whenever the judge tries to close the case, new conclusive evidence appears. He thinks something shady is happening. They want to prolong this procedure to justify what their television says, according to which the judges favor Barça. This has been eroding both the institutional and personal relationship. The mutual respect between the two clubs has been badly damaged. Well, so there you go. Man, it's heavy. It's really something. And having said that, look, here they also talk about the thing with Mbappé and Exposito. Yesterday's great Copa match. They're talking about the current situation of Atletico de Madrid. Now it's his turn. Antonito Ruiz shares the Atleti news. And Juanma Castaño says this. And is this it? Gonzalo Miró. Unbelievable if this isn't it. Let's see. That's what commentators are saying. But if Atleti really do see it the same way, the squad, the coach, and the club as an institution, which doesn't mean they're going to do it, not at all, but well, knowing Atleti, you can get an idea. Isn't this tampering with the competition?
As they allow
for Wednesday, for now, do it through the media, which is already quite a lot.
It looks like Saturday's game for Atleti is just a formality, thinking about what's going to happen in Barcelona in the chat.
Saturday's Atleti game is irrelevant. They just need to avoid a heavy defeat. Because it's amazing how a thrashing can always affect you more emotionally, not because of the result itself, but losing that game just brings bad vibes.
It has no significance in
The
standings. That they don't get battered, it's true that they have to give a good impression and that no one else gets injured.
This is Palomar Gonzalo Miro saying it, because I'll share something else about Gonzalo Miro in the next video related to Vinicius. Let Palomar say it too, otherwise it won't be clear. It's irrelevant that they don't get thrashed and give a good impression, but what the hell is this? They're in the league, man. In the league match is, well.
And no sanctions or anything like that, quite the opposite.
Let's go, and it's the complete opposite for Barcelona. Very important, of course.
But Palomar, who was a guy who clashed with Mourinho, well, anyway, he hates Mourinho because he thought he was coming to mess up Spanish football. And so on, and his tricks and his dirty tricks. Hey, and is he saying this now as a journalist? He's giving an opinion, but well, he's saying that Atleti, what they have to do is make sure they don't get thrashed either.
What, man? Barcelona arrives at the Metropolitano, which is one of the toughest matches of the season. In an ideal situation, I mean, regarding the opponent.
Idyllic?
Well, now we have to know what's going on. But let's start with Saturday.
No, I'm not talking about Saturday. I mean Saturday. No, the Champions thing was something else. Champions is something else. But Saturday with Atletico's mentality, with the injuries Atletico Madrid has in the league, come on. It seems to me that, well...
If Madrid has won before, since they play earlier, then you're going to be under pressure. I mean, you have to win the match, of course.
Up front, I've never seen Atletico give up. I mean, I've seen them play badly, but never give up, and I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I mean, Barça would be making a big mistake if they think Atletico is going to beat them.
Sorry, but Atleti, when they've had the chance to give up against Barça because of this kind of situation in the standings and all that, they have given up, damn it. We've seen some huge wins by Barça over Atleti.
The path, because we agree that the match on Wednesday could be much more important for Atletico.
Here, Miguel Rico is trying to calm things down, saying, wait, but Atletico should step up. Yeah, of course. He's defending Barça as much as he can, right?
But beating Barça would also have a very positive impact on their morale, so we have to be careful.
Well, playing at home for Atletico de Madrid also has an element of shame, right?
Also, Antonio Ruiz started to say, wait a minute, let's not let this get out of hand, man. Atletico wants to win.
Not to make a fool of themselves in front of anyone, and especially not against Barcelona, who then comes here trying to put together a lineup, for example, right? And without saying that he's going to make it, assuming the crowd is going to show up and that they're only going to be careful with him. I often get Musso as goalie, Molina, Lenormand, La Angra, Ruggeri, or Julio Dico, and up front they mention Atletico or something later?
It's true that injuries affect everyone and Atleticos are important, but the direction he just gave is very clever. So
Maybe one of those? You don't need the juice.
It's just that, I mean, then this guy shows up.
But seeing your attitude, Gonzalo, are you really going to frame it like this? Of course, just like I'm telling you. I mean, really. But do you make it easier, or do you do it just to annoy the Madrid fans too? No, look, if you push me, I mean, if I really get into it, I get very, very technical. Would it help Atletico de Madrid if they won, so Barça would still need to compete when facing Espanyol? Barça is fighting for the league, and if Madrid was only 1 point behind during Barcelona's Espanyol match, that game would be crucial. Between the Champions League knockout round, I mean, if I get really purist, obviously for the sake of the Champions League knockout round itself, it's better for them to win, but what I don't for Atletico, it's in their interest for Madrid to be under pressure in La Liga, especially in the match against Espanyol, okay? Especially that match. Now, what I wouldn't do is risk anyone in the slightest. I mean, anyone who's a bit tired, who's played too many minutes, anything like that, just let them rest.
So normally with the goal in mind. And by the way, stay tuned with Gonzalo Miró and Dani Senabre in the Cope talk shows. They are very, very, very upset, really agitated, and very worried about what happened in Cornella the other day, okay? Later, we'll talk about something regarding Gonzalo Miró. Well, you already know it, but there's another chapter, and it's unbelievable, right? That they act so righteous about this and have those two there in the discussion. We'll discuss it in the next video. The last one, now a very funny interview with Valverde, where he says they have some music here. Well, he explains it a bit here. When we shoot, once I injured his shoulder and I wanted to die, I really did die myself because Alillo de Sian. When he used to shoot during training, playing with Zidane, the coach's son, before joining the Real Madrid first team, well, he injured him. I mean, he shot hard. Man, he kept worrying that he'd injured him and that they were going to kick him out. Well, back then he says he was injured. Goalkeepers in training, shoulder injuries or dislocations. And he says, once I hurt Lucas Zidane and I wanted to die because he was the coach's son, I thought, are they going to kick me out? This is amazing from Fede Valverde, as told here by Ataque Futbolero, which is a show. It's called Spicy Therapy. It's a podcast, and well, there was an interview there, and he says interesting things, like when he entered the Real Madrid locker room and saw everyone. He noticed while with Castilla that everyone wore brand name clothes, but he didn't and felt embarrassed, questioning, what am I doing here? And it's true, that humility with which Federico Valverde arrived at Madrid. Well, that's it for now. Let's see if things start to get better. Tomorrow, Friday, Good Friday, there's a pre-match press conference for the match against Mallorca. Hey, the match against Mallorca is on Saturday, Atletico and Atleti Barça. Although we've already seen how motivated they are, also on Saturday. And well, it's going to be an interesting weekend because, oh man, these 2 weeks are always during the international break, right? That's how they are. All right, see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for being there. I remind you that you can get the Real Madrid audiobook, The Greatest Story Ever Told, the 124 years of history that we celebrated less than a month ago, of the best club of the 20th and 21st centuries. The first audiobook, the first Real Madrid audiobook as such, I mean, directly without ever going through print and straight to your ears, wherever you are. You have the link down below in the description to get it. And with the audiobook, you also get a 3-month subscription to my website, Miguel Serrano TV, which is basically the membership for this YouTube channel. Thanks in advance to those who get it. See you next time. Have a great day. Bye.